Wickenburg, Arizona in the house. Did I say that right?
Yes.
Awesome. Sweet. TCP Nation, I'm excited to talk to this guy. I think, handshake. It's a good idea. Hi, everybody out there on YouTube. I don't know Kyle real well. Turns out we know a lot of the same people. I kind of caught some. Oh, and by the way, shout out to Morgan. We were hoping to have her here. She wasn't able to make it, but I think she might be listening to this. And girl, good job on the social. Like, great work. Kyle's got great ability to share his thoughts and this kind of thing, which caught my attention. Morgan puts it out what I think is in a unique and good way on social. So I invited him to come to the Cowboy Perspective. He said absolutely. Matter of fact, he flew in. We were going to take some trips in the Mooney, maybe go pick him up, but weather didn't cooperate. Although this morning is a beautiful morning for flying. It would have been a great time to fly back up there. So anyways, welcome, Kyle. Thanks for being here. If y'all don't know who he is, go follow 6S Horsemanship. It's on his cap there. You can see the logo, and then you'll learn all those things. I'm not going to sit here and try to tell you who he is. We're going to start talking. So first of all, I think this is a great question. You might be like, you a-hole. Why would you care what my mustache looks like? But, like, where did that style come from? Because it's like immediately, anytime somebody sees you or
it gets a hold of the room.
Yeah,
when you walk
that's
through the
right.
door,
Is that your strategy?
Kind of, yes.
Yeah.
Honestly. And for those that have seen the videos, I've made a few jokes as to why I do it this way.
Yeah,
and I've made a few puns and stuff. Yeah. And I'm not saying some of the puns aren't true, but that wasn't the original. Like, to tell the actual story of why I even did it, when I was, the first year I was on the 25 Ranch in Battle Mountain, Nevada, I stayed at the St. John's camp with Stephen Davis. And Adam McKinney was our cow boss. He stayed out there too. And me and Stephen became real good friends, but I've never been around someone that constantly crabby.
Oh, yeah.
But not really mad at you. Like, I've been around people mad at me a lot.
Yeah.
But that was inflicted, But, like, I've never been around someone that crabby at everything all the time. And I used to really like to get him going. And I just remembered him rambling on about the guy on Tombstone who barely has, like, a 10-minute part in the movie with a mustache like this.
Yeah.
So I just started shaving it like this at camp because those two were the only two I was going to see for a few months anyways.
Yeah.
And Adam doesn't care what you want to do.
Right.
And Steven was just going to grumble about it. So that was the only reason I even did it, was to just be funny. Yeah. And, like, all growing up when I was a kid, I'd watch that movie and be like, man, that's so cool. Like, if I could have a reason to have a mustache like that, that's so different.
Right.
So then that was my reason, is because I was never going to see anyone, and it wasn't going to matter, and it was getting, like, I could get a rise out of Steven before we went to breakfast and or made breakfast or whatever. But by the time camp was over, it had literally grown on me.
Yeah.
And I thought it was cool, and it was like immediate that I could tell, like, all right, this is going to weed everyone out before I even have to tell them what my name is, because they're either going to tell me it's cool, and then so are they probably.
Right.
Or they're going to ignore it and be totally indifferent about it, which is probably even cooler than the first.
Right, yeah.
Or they're going to have something to say or wonder why or think it's funny. And usually you can tell, like, the people that want to talk about your looks, especially like I've modeled before. Like, I'm not an awful looking human. And it's always interesting.
See, now, time out. See, you surprised me with that right there. I've modeled. It's like, you're such an interesting guy. Like, we had dinner, and we've talked on the phone a few times, kind of coordinating this. But, like, folks, you just kind of got to follow what Kyle's up to. He's just an interesting guy. He's been into different things. Your style catches my eye. It's the trousers, the suspenders, it's the glasses. So,
and, like, even like the hair, and I've always had different hair. Like, I've had a couple of different styles I rocked, but it's always different. And, like, even before trousers, I had other particularities about my style. Like, I've always been pretty particular about it, but they always had, like, a good reason, too. Like, it wasn't being flamboyant or putting on a show. Like, there was reason, but it was, like, who I was. And before I could, like, carry myself with that style, I'd have to go, like, earn these personal badges or checkpoints in life of mine to even be that person that I wanted to become.
Yeah.
And then you just own it because you are, whether you dress that way or not. But I think, like, there's some truth to, like, oh, well, you shouldn't care what people think, so you shouldn't even have to go to that level. But I think, like, it's a high level of self-respect to truly, like, carry who you are and who you want to become and have pride in who that is, and, like, pay attention to what you look like and how you carry yourself.
I mean, that's a yeehaw comment. Like, there's sometimes I'll have my producer put in a yeehaw because it's like, hey, wake up, folks. Listen to that. That's good perspective.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the cowboy perspective, like, we're having a conversation. That's what this show is. It's me talking to people, those people talking to me. We're not here to give you a checklist of things that make you successful or that kind of. I'm interested in Kyle. We talk along the way. Yeehaw. Man, that is something that's really good. It can help you in life. It's a great advice for my kids. You know, I might croak over today. Mm-hmm. And now there's stuff my kids can go listen to, and I want it to be stuff they can use in life.
Yeah,
so,
and like when you mentioned success and then this being like the cowboy perspective, like that's something I haven't mentioned on our platform before, and I really should, like, just say, like, to support success or get behind success is like supporting yourself, or like reminding you to carry yourself as who you want to be. You could hate me or my opinion, or you could not have anything to do with horses or whatever. Like, I'm not telling anyone to be like me, because really, to be like me, you just have to be like yourself, which is not going to be anything like me.
Right.
So that whole success to me is like what I want it to be to everyone that wears the brand, which is why we started taking the horsemanship part off the logo on some of our merchandise, just because 100% we have people that support the horsemanship page, and I appreciate that. But really, I just want to put out 6S with the line between success and BS, and then that can be from your perspective and how you comprehend that. Like, what do you think is successful? What do you think tomorrow would make better than how today went? Like, there's a really good one for success. Like, okay, so what I try to tell myself all the time that I should put behind success, or like let people know who want to wear this brand what it should mean to them, is like doing things you feel good about doing, not doing things that make you feel good. Like, a lot of things make you feel good that you don't feel good about doing after. Like, the hard things you feel good about doing after, which is where that line kind of rides between, I think. Has nothing to do with horses or what I think or anything.
Yeah.
It's what you think and what makes you feel like your chest should lead the way when you walk.
My dad put it like this. He dropped me off at college, and he said, walk around here like you're John Wayne.
Mm-hmm.
And that, I mean, I don't know, it's just a great piece of advice, because you never saw John Wayne slinking in, bent, with his shoulders down and not confident.
Right.
It means let your chest lead the way. Find a way to feel about yourself, or even pretend like you feel about yourself, and your chest leads the way, and like, man, I'm doing things that I'm, feel good about doing.
Right.
By the way, we got to go back to the brand, because have you seen Positive Times that American Hat Company uses? Like, it's the multiplied sign and the plus sign. So, or maybe it's the plus sign and the multiplication sign. You'll see it on guys' hats and stuff. It's positive. I think your brand, this is just now occurring to me when you explain what it stands for, is something iconic like that.
Right.
It's like success or BS.
Yep.
And the line between those two things, and a lot of times it's a very thin line.
Right. And like, not a lot of people want to admit this, especially people that are trying to showcase their success to the world. It's like, you cannot lie to yourself on if you think you're doing good or not. No matter what you want to cover up or show people or like live off their praise or whatever, you can't lie to yourself. And even like the whole like fake it till you make it type, or like pretending to be who you want to be until you are, like, that's a hard thing to do. But any of those doubts or anything in your mind like melt pretty quick if you just work harder at who you want to be.
Yeah.
And it becomes really easy to carry yourself because you know what you've done now.
Yeah.
And like, I think to a lot of people, they could look at me and think like, man, that kid's just always done what he wanted, and he's always believed in himself, and he's always like, not even close to true. I fight my head and have imposter syndrome all the time, and I get down on myself even on things that are done. Like, I'll think back on my rodeo career, and like one day I'll talk about my rodeo career, and I'm like so pumped and happy that I could even take off from where I started and get to where I got. But then in like 5 minutes of scrolling, you can see all the top 15 guys in the world and realize you're not them. So then you're like, well, it doesn't even count. I probably shouldn't even tell people I rodeoed because it don't even count. Like, if it counted, they'd already know, you know?
Right.
But then you get reminded too of like, okay, maybe if you only look at bareback riders, but like, how many of them have cowboyed at the level you have? Mm. And then how many of those cowboys have modeled at the level you have? And I didn't even want to do that. I just kind of fell into it. Or like whatever. So if you go through things and really work hard and do your best, a lot of that stuff goes away, and you don't get to comparing so much, because then you could just compare to like, okay, well, what did those guys go through? Nothing compared to what you may have gone through. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of a silly thing to do, but I struggle with it a lot more than I think appears on the surface, which is why I can kind of talk so like confidently on how it works or how to fix it, because I've had to battle it a lot and kind of figure it out on my own.
That's right. Like, if you had to go fix a leaking water trough, now you know how to fix a leaking water trough. Yeah. It's like fixing your confidence it's a truth for every human. I mean, you got to tell me if you agree with this or not. I don't think there's a single human alive that doesn't deal with that.
Right.
Maybe a narcissistic type that has, I don't know, just zero concern about other people. Maybe. But most of us are sitting here battling this comparison problem, confidence problem all the time. And social media is this crazy world that we spend time watching other people's lives instead of living our life. Yeah. And, you know, it's a great resource. I use it. I probably do the doom scroll, you know, more than I want to. But I really like and align with your ideas around confidence and how you got to build it yourself. You can't get it. You can't just pretend it. Maybe the first step is pretending it, or at least knowing you want it. Right. And then you start building that. I think about it also like create, don't compete. Right. So we are here to create the version of ourselves we want to be. That version is not there just to compete against some other version or some other person. It might mean you outperform them in the rodeo arena. It might mean you outperform them in business. It might mean you outperform them in social media or the show ring, whatever. But it's not the result of the competing. It's the result of the creating.
Right.
Well, thanks for agreeing.
No, absolutely. And even there's people that their comfort zone would truly like blow the average human's mind. Like, they're, say, born into like definitely going to be great. Yeah. Like from the day they were born, because of what they were born into and their backing and who they are or whatever, they're going to be great. So by the time they're 10, they've heard that they're going to be this or this.
Are you
or
talking
this.
about Rocker Steiner? I mean, he's a great example of that.
No, that's crazy that you say that, because I was, but I don't want to harp on anyone either, because I don't take away from his talent whatsoever.
I've interviewed him.
I agree with his attitude and his presence and everything, because he is in the position and he is the person that can back it. Absolutely act that way.
Yeah.
The thing about it is, like, people look at that from the outside looking in and think, like, how is he so much better than everyone, or how is he so much wilder, or how is he so much this and this and this? Well, he's only been told this is what he's going to be his whole life, and he's had nothing to worry about but that.
Yeah.
So that to me is like a huge comfort zone. But
it's momentum.
If you think about it, if that was your comfort zone, that doesn't seem like a comfort zone to most of us. That seems silly for me to say that. But if you're like, hey, Rocker, like, all this stuff is done now, and people don't care what your last name is or who you're from, so you're going to go to Mongolia and learn how to be a sheep herder, and you don't get any money, and that's just life now. He would probably crumple for a while.
Yeah.
And I'm not harping on him either. Like, I'm not
or he
bashing
might
anybody.
not.
But
like,
true, because
he thinks confidently about everything.
True, and that's a very good point. And I do think about that too. Like, man, the power of the mind doesn't really care how you got this confidence. So if you could have somehow just kept Rocker's mind, he could have been born an orphan and had zero and still be, like, the way rodeo pays now, if you really are that good and winning and they're giving it to you, you can come from nothing and make it. It's just hard to pay
Rocker's
your dues,
a great topic. He's a great topic. I mean, he's a good case study.
Yes, but none of that stuff backing him would matter if you truly had his level of confidence.
But he didn't get that at birth. That was built.
Right.
In my opinion. I think his confidence was built from his granddad, his dad, his mom.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he just has... So he has wealth. So that's kind of covers a lot of things that will crinkle your confidence early or as a young kid. You don't have to worry about where you're going to get your next biscuit, you know, like there's biscuits all the time. You don't have to worry about that. But he also had people with the mindset in his life, you can do anything.
Right.
It doesn't matter. You want to go be the greatest wakeboarder of all time?
Right.
Let's go do that. I mean, Sid was a great case study because he just wins the world. Okay, I did it.
And really,
I'm moving on.
Sometimes confidence can just come from flat ignorance too, and you just don't even know better. So, like, I truly think we were all born with way higher confidence than what we end up having when we're 18.
Yeah.
Unless you have backing that knows how the mind works to help you and support you. And, like, the whole, like, whether you're rich or not, I think, means zero. Because if you're dirt poor, but your dad was like, you're not going to stay that way, you know, this is going to dig us out of here, it would give you the same confidence. That's just hard in, like, human nature to even, it almost seems like you're lying to yourself or giving yourself false hope to say that when there's no proof in it.
Yeah.
But then we all preach and believe in whatever we believe, so then it shouldn't be that hard to believe in ourselves. But it is, because, and I know that because I can think back to as a kid and how I'd think about things, and I would imagine doing all these highlights that my life has led to, but I had no idea how. And then you get to about 16, 18, and, like, everything you hear from everyone, your confidence just goes in the tank, and it doesn't even matter if you're good at it or not, because of what everyone's telling you. Even if you're good at it, you shouldn't even be doing this. Like, you shouldn't even want to be a cowboy. You shouldn't rodeo. You shouldn't. And, like, they'd tell you could do anything and, like, build you up and be like, man, you could do anything. So why don't you just do what we want you to do?
Yeah.
Kind of a thing.
I'm curious. Let's talk about the details of that in your life. So I know from our conversation at dinner, you've done a lot of things that you weren't, like, born into, or, you know, you kind of weren't, it wasn't like a family tradition.
Right.
So where did you start?
Kind of day one. Like, I wouldn't call our place a cowboy place or a ranch by any means, but we had cows and horses and
where? What part of the country?
In northern Minnesota.
Okay.
So, like, all my little kid pictures are around horses and a cowboy hat and whatever, and I was going to be a bronc rider, and that was that, and on and on and on. And then there were just no friends doing that. There was no family members doing that. There was no one that wanted to watch rodeo bloopers anymore when you weren't 10.
Yeah.
And there wasn't a lot to do with it. So I still enjoyed our cows, and like we were farm kids for sure because we had no choice, and I liked them. But I really went through a pretty big motocross phase. It was short-lived, but pretty excessive into just motocross and being a punk and on and on and on. And I guess I was 14 and got back into riding horses a bunch. And then a buddy of mine, Brandon Kruger, moved from North Dakota to my hometown and started going to school with us. And he was into horses, and we became friends, so we started roping together. And then a year or so down the road, we went to a bull riding school together and then started traveling together. But we were always training horses, too, and we worked on a ranch together, like the Stall Ranch in Minnesota. And he moved away, but I just kept going. So then, like, later on, there was a horse trainer back home that had a rodeo company, too, Keith Wojo, put on, like, very amateur rodeos, but, like, hey, if you work for me, I'll pay your fees at all my rodeos, and you can borrow all my stuff, and you can get on 100 practice horses a day if you really want to and don't get burnt out. Like, he wouldn't give you anything per se, but he'd give you all the opportunity in the world if you really wanted it.
Yeah.
And he really turned my life around, like 180, as far as taking things serious and knowing you could be somebody when no one else thought so.
Yeah.
And that's where, like, my foundation of horse training and riding horses come from, for sure. And then rodeo, too, and I rode bulls there and then started fighting bulls there. And then there was a cowboy there that I kind of looked up to back then. Maybe wasn't the greatest mentor, but he was my mentor then.
Yeah.
And he used to say all the time, like, bull riders are such pussies, and the only tough rough stock riders are bronc riders, and the crazy ones are bareback riders. And I just took that literally, because I'll be honest, when I rode bulls, I would watch bareback riding and think, you have to be the biggest imbecile on the planet to do that. Like, I don't even want to climb up there to help you put your rigging on with the way these things are. Like, I have no desire for bucking horses at all. Until he said that, and then I'm like, man, I can't not now.
Right.
If that's what he really thinks. And I tried it, and man, my first bareback horse was like better than any bull ride I'd ever made in 3 years of trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
And then I just took off. And this is where my mind kind of gets in the way too, because like I was such a natural at it, and I did well, and in my first year made the amateur finals, and everything was going fine, and blah, blah, blah. Like, won the reserve champion at the amateur finals, which is not that big of an accomplishment, but
still,
whatever.
It's something, you know?
If you've never even came from it, and then all of a sudden you're like doing the things that the people that you look up to are doing, like, it's a stepping stone for sure. But then, like, it was still like not supported and just could not be supported. But then if you were at a rodeo and people could see, then they'd love to come watch and act supportive. But then, like, if you didn't win $1 million that day and turn everything around and save the farm, then you could just as well.
Who do you feel like was not supportive?
Oh, my dad.
Your dad.
He'd tell you that that's not true, and he was supportive and on and on and on. But if that's true, then he didn't know how to support you.
It didn't feel supportive to you.
No.
I mean, I kind of can't align with that a little bit. I mean, so I was like a athlete, played football, played basketball. I mean, this small town of Comanche, those are the things you do. And then I got to roping, and I always just grew up on the ranch, you know. I mean, I loved horses. My uncle was a really good calf roper. I had horses to ride and rope on. Like, I had so much momentum. So then I kind of started roping and rodeoing. And I think a parent, or at least my dad, was like, he just didn't see a big future in it for
Right.
me. He's like, I don't see this being like a great future for you. So he was not, he wasn't like negative, but he just wasn't super supportive. So it felt like I wasn't supported. So I can align with what you're kind of talking about. You might have even got, more negative than what I did. But ultimately, it turned out I was probably as gifted a calf roper as anybody.
Mm-hmm.
Pick all the great names. I could rope just as good as them. I could tie as good. I could all those things, but I couldn't mentally
Right.
play the game of rodeo.
Right. And that's kind of where I walked away too, is like, okay, so I do all this stuff and I think like, man, this is really taking off. And then I go to Texas to a bareback riding school and I meet Craig Weishart, immediately become good friends with him, and he gets me a scholarship to Tarleton the next year. So I switched my major. I quit NDSU. NDSU wouldn't let me rodeo there anyway. I got in trouble 2 years in a row and whatever. And their team was a joke anyway.
Yeah.
So I get to go to Tarleton, but then like you would think like, man, you must have just went to 100 rodeos down there your first winter, and then everything took off, and then this happened and this happened and this happened because you had blah, 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 and it could have, and it's definitely my fault that it didn't. But the second I got down there, it was like pretty much all these big name top 30 type people in the world are like telling you, you got to do this and you got to do this and you got to do this. And instead of taking it as like help or criticism or driving fire to like, oh, I'm going to be just like these guys, I'm part of their pack, it just hit me like, dang, do I suck that bad? Right. Am I just the worst at this ever? And then I just got so in my way that in the next 2 or 3 years, I barely even stayed on a bucking horse. But then they'd tell me like, God, you are so tough, or your markouts and first rip are so tenacious, or they'd say all these uplifting, building things, and I could not believe them for a second. Yeah. So it wouldn't matter if I was supported at
you're
that
so
point.
honest though.
Yeah.
People, you got to live like this is just a guy telling you the honest truth, and I know millions of people out there living the same thing. It might not be with bareback riding. It might be with motocross. It might be with skateboarding. It could be with basketball. It could be anything. Take what Kyle's just trying to tell you right now. Don't be like me.
Exactly. Know? And like, this is why I like telling my story. Is like, if you look at it on paper, you could say I've lived a pretty abnormal life or did some substantial things or whatever, but I do not think people would ever, ever, ever believe how just normal of a guy I am, what a normal life I came from, and how normal I still feel, and what normal things I still battle every single day. Like it's with nothing. So a lot of people could just, I mean, they can hate how I word it, but they could take my story as an example to just be a better version of themselves, and they'd probably find that they're just fine.
Yeah, man, that's you're a sharp guy. You're like, I think you probably you don't really have an aversion to just putting it how you see it, which some people can't hardly handle.
Right.
But like just sitting here talking to you, it's like, I want to be like Kyle. I mean, it's like, I want to be able to realize I have weaknesses, but I have strengths. I've done cool stuff. I've fallen short at things. Yeah. It's like, it's true. It's true for everybody. And why humans want to, idolize the measuring stick of money or the measuring stick of world championships.
Yeah, just placings or outcome or
that kind of thing is kind of just weird.
Or even the bandwagoning of fans. Sometimes people are almost even too scared to switch up on who they're a fan of because of bandwagon. It's like, what? Who cares?
Right. You're living that a little bit with your social being as popular as it is, and kind of going from nothing to big in a short amount of time. I feel like you've got your head on pretty straight about that, and probably Morgan does too. It's like the negative comments and the positive comments are just comments. They don't really define you.
And here's another second of honesty is like, that being said, 100% there's still mornings where I wake up and Morgan is not ready to get out of bed yet. But to me, it is time to get out of bed and look at this comment and argue about how much it makes me mad and how they're not right, and these people don't even know me, and what does he have a right to say anything, and my voice gets louder and louder and louder and louder. Now we're like 2 hours into ruining the entire morning, which will carry into the day over a comment. So I definitely do it too.
Yeah.
But I think it's good. I think it's good to have that and then control it. Just like fear. Like, I used to wonder why people would think like, man, you're so crazy, or you're so tough, or you're so this and that. And I could not believe it because they didn't know how scared I was every time of getting on a bareback horse or getting in a fight or walking up and hitting. Like, I used to be real known for like no words. If you look at me, like, I am going to hit you.
Yeah.
And if you beat me up, cool, but I'll hit you first at least. Yeah. And you'll remember me.
Yeah.
And I used to be really bad about that.
Yeah.
But it was because I was scared.
Yeah.
And people thought I was intensely tough or fearless or do whatever I want. Not even close. I am terrified every day. But I go towards that stuff on purpose. Like, if it scares me, it's worth doing.
Dude, that's
so
such
I gravitate
a brilliant
towards it on purpose. But I used to fight my head about it a lot because I would think like, why am I scared all the time? Like, I've done this 100 times. Why am I still scared? Am I weak? Am I a little bitch? You know, like, should I not feel this way? And I realized the people that act like they never feel that are the biggest cowards and the fakest type of people ever. And fear is truly, truly a good thing. I think if you do fearful things unafraid, you're not even you have no like preservation or intelligence whatsoever. I mean, you gotta know what's going on too. Or like people will tell me like, you're so insane to fly down a hill trying to rope something, but then they drive 85 to work, to a job they don't even want to go to, on a highway they don't care about. That's how you want to get hurt or die. And I mean, it happened to me too. I got in a car wreck too, so I'm not trying to be a hypocrite, but like, that to me is insane because it has no point. Even riding a pedal bike downhill, if it has no point and you're not a kid anymore, is kind of insane. Like, why? But if there's a good reason to do it, I would die for any good reason.
Right. I mean, you watch these
no
guys
holding back. I'd be afraid maybe, but if it has a good reason, that is what I'm going to do.
Yeah. We're all going to die. Your ticket is going to get punched. Mm-hmm. So I think I so align with that perspective. I'm scared sometimes of being this echo chamber. You know, it's like the cowboy perspective where this some kind of echo chamber. But I can't help but agree with the stuff that I agree with. I like the way you're thinking about it. It's like being a man. You hear toxic masculinity where, you know, there's so much bad about being a man. I listen to this guy named Jordan Peterson. He says it kind of like this. I love him. A man is supposed to be dangerous, very dangerous, but capable of controlling it. Right. It's kind of like you're talking about fear.
Right.
Like, fear's good. It's okay to be afraid, and it's okay to face it. It's actually great to face it and deal with it and be a man. So cool, man. So cool. I love that. Wait, real quick, before I forget, I want to know about this modeling career. Like, what did you model and how did you get into it?
I don't know how many details I can share.
Well, whatever. Hey, this isn't live, so we can always take it out.
Okay, so, and it's really not that bad.
People do sometimes you're a little sensitive to it. I mean, are you going to say you were in porn or something? You know, maybe it was.
Could have been. It would have been made a lot more money.
Right.
If we could start at that humorous, I'll just go ahead and say what happened then. But it's mostly just because Morgan don't need to know what happened. But
so if you don't want Morgan to hear it, let's don't even say it because, you know, we don't need to put it in here.
But I could tell the gist of how it went.
Okay,
and
cool.
Build on the modeling stuff.
Right. Well,
at least.
But here's what's going to happen. Morgan's going to hear what we just talked about, or we need to cut that out. And she's going to be like, why do you think I can't hear it? know.
She knows.
Oh, okay.
She
Okay,
knows.
cool deal.
We just have a very strong level of respect on that kind of stuff.
Yeah, well, that's good. See, I think this is good conversation, too. Like, this is a real conversation.
Right.
We're navigating a thing. I just thought, dude, you modeled? That's cool. Tell me about it. And then you're
so
like, yeah, but the reality is a little bit, suspect.
It's just how I went about getting the contract. Kind of.
All right, cool.
Anyway, Luke.
Yeah.
Deleski.
Yeah.
Him and I were best friends in college, and we started Rodeo Van Trading Post, and we were selling Native American silver and turquoise jewelry and rodeoing and stuff, and had an Instagram. Well, it wasn't really much at first, other than we had it had to have been close to $40,000 worth of jewelry fronted to us by his uncle, who had a huge store in Albuquerque.
Yeah.
Other than that, we had like $26.
Right.
And fly to Vegas with a suitcase and a roll-around silver case of jewelry.
Yeah.
Which looked way nicer than our suitcase did. And we get there and have no money, no idea what we're doing, have no idea how to take advantage of the NFR, because it was said to us that we'd have this booth from his brother-in-law. And it wasn't his brother-in-law's fault that it didn't work out, but it didn't work out. So now we kind of feel like we have nothing, which, I mean, you could be in that position and then have a huge, say you had 10 grand. Would be way different to figure that shit out in Vegas than when you literally have $26 to your name.
Yeah.
And no hotel room booked. So for 2 days, we just kind of do the tactics that Luke knew of just driving around to stores in Vegas that had nothing to do with the NFR, trying to wholesale this stuff. And on the third or fourth day, he's like, dude, we gotta, we're only selling enough to buy gas for today, every day. We have to just go home. And that hit me really hard, because I'm like, motherfucker, I just walked away from this, a job in South Dakota, and this and this and this. This was the plan. There wasn't plan A, plan B. This was
the plan.
The plan.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, well, if that's the case, at least let's acknowledge the fact that we're at the NFR in Las Vegas, Nevada. Let's just party one night. Just innocent
Go ahead. Let's have fun.
Low-key party. Then we'll go home.
Yeah.
So we go party, and it wasn't turning into much of anything yet. It was just kind of a normal old party. And there was this girl on the dance floor or whatever that kind of caught my eye. So I went up and asked her to dance, and we're dancing. And she asked me what I was doing there. And I said, looking for someone like you, I guess. And on and on and on. Well, it escalates. And we go to the elevator, the MGM or whatever. And went up and down and didn't press any buttons.
Yeah.
In the elevator.
Yeah.
And I woke up the next morning in the whole suite of CM modeling, and with that girl who owns CM modeling, I guess.
Oh, yeah.
And her co-owner is in the room, and they're like, she's like, who's Brad Pitt? Or who's the baby Brad Pitt? Me.
That's you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know what I've got myself into,
Right.
but that day, they get me and Luke pulled up to this shoot or whatever, and all of our jewelry goes in it.
Really?
And we put all these clothes on from Cowboy Fresh or whatever, and we do this little impromptu shoot, and they're like, we got to have you guys. And the next day, we signed 2-year contracts with them, and then started putting these shoots together, and we'd kind of collaborate these things. Me and Luke, we'd approach say 10 businesses and be like, okay, we're going to have the best models in the industry. We're going to have the top platforms in the industry. We're going to get them into the best magazines in the industry if you just front us your shit. And we would get all these products from all these companies fronted. And some would pay you too.
Yeah.
And then, so you'd put all this stuff together, and then we'd get all these models together. And then all of our jewelry would be on it. So it worked for us. And me and Luke just kind of had a way with working with these girls, I guess.
Yeah.
And that was how we both started modeling, but it was mostly to get our jewelry on stuff too. And we were just good at like conducting things, finding sets for things, ideas for things. I personally think we started a lot of that black and turquoise trendy stuff.
Yeah.
Where they're all dressed all black, but then just ungodly amounts of turquoise. Like we started that trend with some specific models in the Cowboys and Indians shoot in that magazine.
Yeah.
And like we were still so naive to what we were doing.
I mean, so
like,
that's my question. The question
so naive
burning in my head is, why am I not talking to a jewelry magnate here?
Well, right. It's like we were just being us. I didn't know that much about the jewelry, and it was all coming from his uncle. I was just being me and using my skills.
Right, yeah.
And it worked. And
so did the uncle end up making a bunch of money selling jewelry?
Yes. And I don't know the details, and it's not my place to say, but that was kind of the rise and fall was just kind of how his uncle did Luke.
Yeah, yeah.
And I didn't care about the industry enough to give a shit to go through any hard times.
You weren't too worried about the money either, probably.
No, and we were just trying to rodeo, and I just wanted it to take off so we could rodeo anyway. And then when it wasn't taking off and I got a taste of that world and industry, I'm like, I could just rodeo. I don't need this shit because it's not helping me anyway. Right. So we just kind of walked away and let it crumble. But we do look back on it a lot and talk about like how rapidly we kind of like got into that whole industry,
that is
seen
wild.
the reality
I'm so
of that
glad we
industry,
talked about it.
And then just walked away from it. And that's another thing that could help a lot of people too, is on Instagram, these girls that scroll Instagram and they compare themselves to all these Southwest fashion influencers.
Yeah.
Whatever, if this doesn't apply to you and you're an influencer, then pat yourself on the back and maybe help people too. But 90% of them are so gross in real life.
Yeah.
And that's all I'm going to say. Like, I'm not going to say why, but they're just not good people.
Yeah.
And their life really ain't that
Well, they're not
great.
happy. They're chasing some.
And I'm not talking crap on them. Like, my point isn't to bash them. It's to let all these other girls that are truly, truly amazing people and amazing girls and have great futures in whatever direction they want to go, stop comparing yourself to these influencers, because it is the fakest thing on the planet, and none of them are good.
Yeah.
None. So,
Yeehaw.
my biggest
I've got 3 daughters, and I want them to hear that.
Industry is meeting girls throughout my whole life in one way or another that are like, you look at them as more like a sister.
Yeah.
And you know they're good girls and they're whatever. And you really care about them. And then you see how sad or how awful they are to themselves because of influencers. And they think they have to be like them. And if they only knew, they would want to be nothing like them. And they should want to be nothing like them whatsoever.
Yeah.
There are way better girls to look up to.
What a wild ride, man. Thanks for telling that story. Morgan, thanks for being able to hear it and just understand, hey, that's life. Like that was part of Kyle's life.
That's why I wasn't surprised when me and Morgan hit it off either, because I met Morgan the exact same way at the NFR a couple years later.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't, and like if people would hear you met a girl at the NFR and you came home and already know you're getting married, they think like, either she was a 10 and you paid for it and fell in love, or you'd never had a girl say hi back to you before.
Right.
So then you hit the big city and we're just Twitter-pated because a girl talked to you. That is not the case with me, and Morgan knows that.
Yeah.
Like, very, very, I don't even know what word you'd say or why I started it using those words. But what I'm saying is, like, I've had girls' attention before.
Yeah.
Like I've walked into a room and knew I could just pick my favorite color of hair.
Yeah.
But then I walked into a room and had them not know I did either, and I could tell like, okay, so it really has nothing to do with who you are or what you look like. It's who they think you are in that moment, in that room. Whoever's the most important thing in that room right now, that's what they want.
Yeah.
And they don't even know why, because when the lights go off after the NFR and you go home, none of them remember you anymore.
Yeah.
So it don't impress me. It don't do nothing for me. when I met Morgan, in about 10 minutes, she impressed me.
You.
And I knew, like, okay, this is different. This is, of all the things, like, this is
real and desirable and makes me better.
Right.
You know, it's all those things that if you're lucky enough in life, I feel like I have been, you know, you find that partner, that wife, business partner, friend, all these things that gets wrapped up in this relationship that it's like comfortable, but also uncomfortable, but also like a friend, but also like intimate, you know, all that stuff, man. So cool. What a story. It's like, I'm talking to my daughter this morning. She's in, you know, we're in these basketball tournaments. She's playing basketball. She's comparing herself at the moment. I'm like, don't do that. Just go be the best you can be. Well, you know, I hear da-da-da. I see somebody else getting some recognition. I'm not. It's just so true for all of us. And, man, you've spoke a lot of truth here to the listeners, to the audience, and I really appreciate you doing that. Okay, man. I'm like so, like, wow, what a story. So we got to talk about Buckaroo, Cowboy, big ranch work, this kind of thing. So you go from this, it's like you're such a great case study. Bareback rider, jewelry guy, model, big like, country Buckaroo.
There was like bareback rider and jewelry model and all that stuff. And I'd been pro rodeoing and I made the circuit finals a couple of times and everything. But there was like that stage of my career. And then after I broke my leg, when I moved to Canada, it's like two totally separate rodeo careers or life stories altogether. And the Canada streak happened before I went to Nevada to Buckaroo. But that's something I could even say to help people too, is like my rodeo career in Canada, you could like, it wasn't even going to the Canadian finals. Like I was CCA rodeoing, which is like Canada's semi-pro. It's kind of honestly a washed up joke now.
Yeah.
But then it was the same horses anyway. There were 40 people going down the road riding bareback horses. It was hard to make the finals. Like it was an accomplishment to win the finals for sure.
Yeah.
And it was all of Canada. And sure, that's not the NFR and that's not what people see on Instagram. But to me, like when I went up there, I got a whole new set of friends. I had a whole new mindset. I had a clean slate of people that did not know anything about me, so I had nothing to worry about whatsoever. And rodeoing up there was so fun. It was like rodeoing in the 80s, how I'd picture of rodeoing in the 80s. Like everyone in that whole circuit knew every single person's vehicle, whether you were a calf roper or a bull rider or a pickup man.
Yeah.
It never mattered if you were broke down in Canada because, for one, the season was just the season. So everyone went to every rodeo, basically.
Yeah.
And everyone liked everyone. And obviously there's people that don't get along when there's like competitiveness, but it wasn't malicious.
Right.
It was very old school and it was very like, dang, there's like a lot of just cowboys, like multi-event, just good cowboys in this circuit that are just like, want everyone else to win too, so we can all just keep rodeoing and just in shit vans and on and on and on. Just like the perfect, like to me, it doesn't matter what it means to anyone else, but to me, it was the greatest way to like feel like you were making a living rodeoing and nothing else mattered. And it wasn't like real glamorous. It wasn't the big lights of Vegas. It wasn't like these insane rodeo athletes. It was just cowboying and rodeoing. It was just simple.
Yeah.
100% you could critique on that compared to the elite level of today. But that's not who I wanted to be. It didn't matter if you thought it was better or not. I don't care because I'm the one who did it. No one else could have done it that way. And when I came back to rodeo in the States, this is why I walked away in the first place, is that winter, like when I broke my leg, I had all my permits filled. So I had to buy my rookie card. And I kept hesitating. That's why I moved to Canada in the first place, so I wouldn't have to buy my rookie card, but I could CCA rodeo up there until I wanted to buy my rookie card. Well, and I wanted to buy my rookie card after a while. And that winter, I went as hard as I'd ever went, and it went great. Like, I was literally third in the world in the rookie standings, 20th in the world in the bareback standings. Never had I even come close to that.
Right.
Seeing that in the PSN.
Sports news. Yeah.
And like, yes, again, you could be like, wow, what about Keenan Hayes when he was a rookie? Sure, but like that's only one person.
Right.
And he's an insane guy or whatever, badass. But it doesn't, I used to let that make my stories not count to me, and I would just lose all my happiness. But when I really think about the point of it all, that's how I wanted to rodeo. Like, I loved rodeoing up there, and I liked that old school stuff. And when I come down here and was doing so well, this is going to sound really weird to a lot of people, but I can honestly tell you that I can still to this day think back to sitting just like this in the Fort Worth locker room, trying to convince myself of like, dude, this is one of the biggest rodeos. And your name is like on the top of the locker. You used to think trinket little dumb shit like that was so cool and meant so much. And they gave you a fuzzy back number, and you're at Fort Worth, and this is the biggest one ever, and you're going to be on TV this time, and blah, 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 blah. And I did not care.
Yeah.
I did not care whatsoever. And I was trying to get myself
to
pumped
care.
up in the locker room, like wondering, like, what is wrong with me? Am I just ungrateful? Is there something wrong with me? Do I not appreciate this enough? But I was just looking across the locker room, and there was no one in there that I wanted to be like. Nothing against any of them, but I did not want to be just a die-hard rodeo athlete. I'm a cowboy.
Yeah.
That's taking nothing away from their talents or their dedication or their discipline or nothing, but I just could not get it out of my head that this is not what I want to be anymore.
Yeah.
At all. But I could not go from that level back to like, well, let's just go to 30 amateur rodeos for the year, and that's rodeoing. There's no point then.
Right.
You just won't be done.
I mean, you're the kind of guy, I think, just talking to you this short amount of time, you like to have a reason for the things you do.
Yes. And the reason why is what my mind and world revolves around on anything. It would revolve around a reason why.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So, like, how'd you get hired on a big ranch? Like, tell me about buckarooing, or why would it be different than cowboying?
Right. So it is different in pretty well every way. But even
is it
if you
based
knew
on
all
location
the difference,
or what?
Like, I truly think that even if you knew all the differences on paper, and you could give a whole, what's it called when you stand in front of the class and you
dissertation, slideshow.
Yeah, you could do a whole presentation like that on all the differences. But if you didn't go out and see it, you still wouldn't get it.
Doesn't matter really. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But like, so I had cowboyed a bunch in my mind up till that time. I had cowboyed a bunch.
Yeah.
And like, that place in South Dakota was fairly big, I guess, and it was definitely cowboying. I just wasn't a very good cowboy then. I was pretty green, and I didn't know that. But I'd rode a lot of horses around, and in Canada too, would like cowboy for places to stay, or ride horses for places to stay. I rode colts all through college here in Lingaville.
Yeah.
So I thought that cowboying was just cowboying. And like, if you didn't do one of the rough stock events, you didn't even count. Like, that that's what it was all about. Like, you just got to ride buckers. Yeah. And then everything else is just because we're cowboys. Like, of course we rope, and of course we ride horses, and of course we do all these things, but I never paid attention to if I was good at it or not. It was just a given that that's what you do because you're a cowboy, but like, it don't even count unless you're riding buckers. Yeah. Which is ignorant, but that's where my head was then. Sure. And then I started getting to paying more and more attention to like the working cowboy world, and like the difference between like full-time working cowboys and like cowboys. Yeah. Yeah. And then I started paying attention to the difference of like bridle horses and all the silver that all these buckaroos always had, and the way their horses moved. And the way they roped and the way they handled everything, like it just seemed to mean more. And like I could see what I was looking at for the first time seeing it. So I could tell like this is like makes sense to me and is kind of a calling of mine because this is all making sense to me before anyone's explaining it to me whatsoever.
Yeah.
So I started watching some videos and really paying attention and really kind of altering how I was doing things. And I was living in Nanton, Alberta at the time with my traveling partner, Brett Williams, and I worked for his parents, like calving cows. That story I tell where I thought that calf was a 66S, but it was 65, and that's where I got my idea. That was working for them.
Okay.
So, and then I was working for a cutting horse trainer too. That's how I got deported. So
what's the next curveball you're gonna throw?
Yeah, right. And then just mention now before we get off topic that we were on a reality show too.
Oh yeah,
so
there
another
you go.
curveball.
There you go.
But no, I was working for this cutting horse trainer, but he kind of fancied himself kind of a vaquero too, and would put on these clinics and teach how to ranch rope and he was a very talented horseman and a horse trainer for sure.
Yeah.
And he helped me a lot, and I have nothing but good things to say about him. I think I don't think he would say that back about me,
right.
And that's fair and fine. But I do, if you're only just talking about the talent of horsemanship and horse training, he is very talented, and he did help me. But, like, if I would push the issue of, like, well, how do you do this loop, or how do you set this up, or what about these spade bits, like it was almost like it annoyed him or offended him that he couldn't answer me. Like he didn't know any better than I did hardly. And I'm like, well, what right do you have to teach anyone then? You're just teaching people that are never going to go do this shit anyway. And you obviously never have because you can't even help me. And you treat me like I'm a nobody. So this is maybe not what I need for help.
Right.
But while working for him, he did plant a seed and strike an interest in the whole Buckaroo style of everything. But I don't even think he really grasps it that hard. But he did enough to get me interested.
Sure.
And he hosted a buck brandman clinic. And I went. And it wasn't even anything to do with roping. Just horsemanship. And it all, instead of teaching me all these new things, just made sense to me. And some of it might have been new or an elaboration.
Yeah.
Or a next level. But it pretty much was things I'd either already knew or done or stuff that I'd kind of thought. And I just didn't even think that I could come up with that. Like, I'd have to hear it from someone way better than me.
To make it right.
To validate that I know what I'm doing. And he validated everything that I was doing. And I was like, this is what I really want to be good at.
Yeah.
I want to dedicate everything I'm doing now to just be good at this. So I approached him after the clinic and I asked him if I could work for him. Just come with him. I'll leave right now. And he's like, no, I think with where you're at and what you're doing, you'd be so much better off to just go to Nevada and get a job. So I did. Not the next day, but I got a list of phone numbers, and I've narrowed it down to California and Nevada, and I knew nothing about it. And I really thought I knew cowboying, but I was just kind of a decent colt starter and could rope.
Yeah.
And that's it. I didn't understand shit. Other than, like, maybe the husbandry of cattle because of, like, feedlot settings and doctoring settings and, like, sickness identification or classifying and sizing cattle I was good at, but not in big country or really cowboying.
Yeah.
And no shit. But I had this list of phone numbers, and I just called them, like, every 3 days. I'd call every single one. And I wouldn't even write down what they said or if they said it was maybe or said call back. If they didn't give me a definite yes, I could come in 2 weeks, I just would forget what they said and call them back in a few more days. For like a month.
You're like you could give a sales training because that's like the trick in sales and getting any job, selling your own self. Well, just don't even listen to the no's. Just call back next week.
And to me, it seems so simple. Like, what are you going to do? Like, so many kids have reached out to me that have become my friends now. Not just from 6S, but just being around. Kids have reached out to me and been like, hey, how could I go here? Or could I ever get on here? Or how could I get a job here? Or how could I get started? And I'd be like, well, call this number, this number, this number, this number, this number. And the next day they'll be like, well, so-and-so didn't answer, so I don't know. Who gives a shit? You can't call him back?
Call it again.
He's like, well, what if I annoy him? Tell you what, man, if you get a job, you're going to annoy him for the next year every day.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't worry about annoying him over the phone. Who gives a shit?
Yeah.
And all he's going to do is fire you. Anyway, like,
yeah.
just get a chance.
Yeah.
It's not that big a deal to call someone. They've never even met you. Just call them. It's not hard. So I would just bomb these numbers every 3 days. And I was riding colts, and then I started watching these other YouTube videos from a guy, Pat Puckett, if you've ever heard of him.
No, but
gives incredible videos on YouTube for humor, horsemanship, or roping.
Yeah.
At any level. And he catches hate too, but that motivates me to see, like when I see how much my heroes catch hate, I like that I catch hate.
You never get hate from above.
Right.
You know, if you're aspiring to be a thing, I mean, just think of billionaires. I mean, you probably could get more out of billionaires to help you along than anybody because they made it. They got there. They want to help.
Yeah.
Or anybody that's at the top of their game. So anyways, I love that kind of perspective. It's like, if you're getting hate, it ain't coming from where you're going.
It's almost like to tell you that you've made it or you're making it.
Yeah.
And I even did a funny video the other day. Did you see the video about me talking shit on black cattle?
Yes.
Okay, that got a lot of hate.
Yeah.
A ton.
Yeah.
And what they don't understand is all of their hate comments, if you really read into them, prove my point.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I mean, I cringed a little bit hearing it just because how adored Angus cattle are. Like, it's just de facto believe they're the best beef animal, which is not true. But I think about it a lot because most people have just zero experience with agriculture. Right. You know, they got no clue where stuff comes from, where food comes from, anything. So they're, I kind of want to hold that against them, but then I realize they can't help it. They don't have, how else do you get opinions, experience? Well, they don't have it. But Corinthi cattle can be great for certain climates or Limousin or Charolais or Brahma influence. So anyways, I saw your video and I cringed a little bit, and then I was like, oh, well, whatever. Kyle knows what he's doing.
And I did a follow-up video addressing all the hate I got, and I pretty much just said, like, good. If you want to hate me, good. Because the only people that I could come up with on this brainstorming for a day on anyone that's ever made anything of themselves that didn't catch hate was Keanu Reeves and Derek Begay. And I could not think of anyone else that have ever made anything for themselves that didn't catch some hate.
Yeah.
And after that video, Derek followed us too.
Yeah.
And liked the
Derek Begay's a cool guy. I mean,
yes,
he's a guy I would love to get on here and talk to. I'm a little less excited about him because he's talked to a lot of people. Like, you'll catch him. Oh, and you talk about, I'll see in your content, like Morgan mentioning, hey, Kyle, somebody on TikTok says, why do you wear that costume? This is just fake. You're just putting this on. Well, there is a really successful person that does that, and it's Dale Brisby. You know, it's like,
so what if I am?
Yeah, right. So, why are y'all hating on that?
Right. Or just like, okay, so I can be a real cowboy. Come on, wear what I like to wear, and just show you with proof in the video. This is why it's wrong. This is why it's right. And I don't care if I hurt your feelings because I'm proving my point right in front of you. And they'll say like, oh, he ain't real. He's got shoes on. Or he ain't real. He's this on or that on. Or he does this or that. And I think every single time when I get those kind of comments, I think to that cutting horse trainer I work for. Because, and these trainers are kind of not that they're not talented, because they're incredibly, incredibly talented, great horsemen, businessmen, family on and on and on. I could say a lot of good things about them, but they're kind of a dime a dozen in their style and approach of online training, I think. And he has a very successful deal going and an online like subscription type horse training academy going, and he teaches all this vaquero stuff. And every single video, he's got like the perfect salt and pepper grizzle, and he talks all slow and monotone and would never say damn it.
Right.
And he's got a perfect cowboy hat and a perfect whatever and a perfect flannel, and his shotgun's on and his boots on, and only the perfect McCartys and only the perfect silver and only the perfect saddle. So then everyone watches that and is like, real cowboy. No, he's not. He's the farthest thing from what I'd call a real cowboy.
Yeah. I mean,
He'd
the
get
real
mad if he heard me
cowboys
say that, and I could care less. But I think back to that, and it helps me almost just blow all that dirt off my shoulder, because like, what you guys believe is real and how easily you're fooled by an image makes me not give a shit what you think anyway.
Yeah. I'm documenting my life. I mean, to me, those social pages do really good. I guess that's kind of unfair to say, because there are scripted, planned, image-based, brand-based things that are successful. And you can't really hate on that. There's a good job there.
Right.
There's also the documentation of a real person that does really well. So you can have success in your own way, in lots of different ways. By the way, real quick, McCarty or McCarty?
I say McCarty out of habit. I fact-checked it on people that I listen to who also say McCarty. That video that I posted where I was like, she meant McCarty. I didn't realize how people were going to take me saying that, and I was not implying how it was taken. Because when I said, okay, so she meant McCarty, they thought I was referring to, is it McCarty or McCarty? I was referring to the fact that she said, how do you ride with horsehair McCarty reins? And all I was saying, whether you want to call it McCarty or McCarty, all I was saying is, it's just a McCarty. You don't have to call them reins. There's no pair here. It's a continuous rope.
Yeah.
It's just a McCarty.
Yeah.
And you have
why
the
say
reins, so
McCarty
you're
or
McCarty and the get down to your McCarty, and sure, you could break it all down and whatever, but it's just a McCarty or a McCarty or a hair rope or whatever the fuck. But it's not a pair of anything unless you cut it in half, and now it's useless. So it's just a McCarty. That's what I meant.
And
it wasn't even
the
about
number
the
of
pronunciation.
people, or the percentage of people who've ever had their hands on a McCarty rein. I would say McCarty just because, but that's semantics. Doesn't actually matter. Is so minuscule and small. I've never rode with a McCarty rein.
Well,
never.
People that think it's rough on your hands have also never got on and I do this out of habit on everything just because it don't come out. But like, say you're going to get on something that maybe is going to take a pull on your get down, and you can't put it through your belt loops or a chink loop. You just stuff it in your pants. It's kind of an old school trick. I do it every time now just because it looks cool and it works well and it don't come out and whatever. But stuffing a horsehair McCarty down your pants is nothing hanging onto it with your hand is nothing compared to stuffing it down your pants. That takes some getting used to. For sure.
Yeah, right. Well, man, geez, I could just talk to you forever, but you got to go get on an airplane. So last thing, I'm going to try to make it the last thing. Did you ever have a rock bottom in your life?
Yep. And I've had a few where people would call it rock bottom, but I damn sure know what mine was.
Yeah. And it's not today.
No,
so you see,
far from today.
I think that's an encouraging thing for people to know and hear. And I think there's such a thing as a cliff top. Will Smith talks about this, and I think about it a lot. There's a rock bottom and there's a cliff top that are the same thing. It is this empty abyss
feeling of what next.
Yeah. And because you get billions of dollars and fame and fortune, and you realize none of that matters.
Yeah.
And you get to the rock bottom and you feel, these are my estimations. I would say I never have had a rock bottom in my life. I've been lucky in that way. I feel blessed in that way. Like I've had whiny moments and like, oh, this life isn't fair to me. But I never got super addicted to anything or, made some decisions that put me in a place that is like, oh crap, there's no further down. There's only up from here. Thanks for sharing that. It's cool. I thought something tells me a guy with your wisdom almost has to have been to a rock bottom at some point.
Oh, yeah. A dark, deep one.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, too, not so much on the rock bottom, but, like, that's what I get so excited about with my life and why I never really get bogged down with slow or low times anymore is, like, all of my highlights in my life or life stages or whatever, pivotal moments, have just been like the beginning. And that just keeps happening, and my excitement never really dies. So, like, it's interesting. So, like, last night I went and met up with a friend, Timmy Flores. And he's got a welding company now in Mineral Wells. But him and I went to school together, and I went to school with his wife, and our whole friend group he was in the OG Tarleton friend group of mine. Yeah. And I went and hung out with him, and it was incredible how much life had passed since I seen them, because it seems like I was just in Stephenville. Mm-hmm. And I damn sure did some reminiscing when I drove through Stephenville yesterday, and just thinking of the headache Stephenville can bring on. I got some Advil on the way through. But we were just talking, and it's crazy how much life I've really lived since the last time I seen him. And it was interesting because him and I were friends through like the Tarleton Rodeo days. And then we stayed friends and stayed in touch through my Canadian rodeo career or whatever. And then he asked me to be in his wedding, which I was. But I was in Canada in 2020, had decided I was done rodeoing, hadn't got a job from that phone list yet, but I knew I was going to Nevada. I knew I had to leave Canada, and I knew I had to be in that wedding. So after the wedding, I was just going to go anyway and find something. Well, COVID had me stuck there. I didn't have a vehicle. I bought a vehicle, or started a bunch of Colts for my traveling partner's old car is what I did. I didn't buy anything.
But see, you tell the story in such a real way. Like, I think that's why you're successful on social. You said, I bought a car. Well, what timeout? Actually, what I did was ride some Colts for my buddy's old used car.
And it wasn't used enough or old enough because they wouldn't let me import it without a bunch of bullshit. So I just turned around, went back into Canada, drove to Saskatchewan, traded for my buddy's 76 Monte Carlo. Or no, it was Grand Marquis, Mercury Grand Marquis. And they were going to let me import that, but I only went like 40 clicks from his house and it blew up anyway. So now I was really stuck. And then luckily I was there and not where I was. And there, meaning Elrose, Saskatchewan, is a big community pastor that I used to work at. So I just worked for that guy until his dad, he didn't sell me his van either, but he left to go work on the pipeline. And his son sold me his van for like $400.
Yeah.
And off I went. And I went to this wedding. And when I got down there, like, I'm telling all these friends of mine that hadn't seen me in a while, like, man, I'm on cloud nine with my new excitement, and I'm going to go to Nevada to Buckaroo, and on and on and on, and this and this and this. And then I didn't see him again until yesterday when I come back, and now I feel like buckarooing is my life and is all I've done. And there's been so much life, and I've moved back to Canada a little and lived up there on a ranch since seeing him, and several ranches in Nevada and Wyoming and California. Like, I hadn't seen him in forever. And then now I'm telling him, like, oh, but you got to see this. And I'm showing him YouTube of the Spanish dressage stuff and the Doma Vaquero stuff in Spain. And that's now my biggest infatuation. And I'm going to Spain in April to train there. And I want to continue to go back and learn Spanish horsemanship and just not dressage, just plain and simple, and not just English plain and simple, but the Spanish traditional Doma Vaquero type stuff and the Gorochas type stuff. That's what I want to get into now. So it's like every time I have this new beginning.
Yeah. I feel like I'm going to have to interview you once a year every year.
I was just going to say, like, it's so hard to wrap this up, and now I've touched on so many different things to open up other doors that maybe we just say we kind of wrap it up at that we'll have to do this again.
Yeah.
Absolutely have to do this again, because I love this kind of stuff, and I don't even think we hardly
I almost want you to be my co-host. You know? It's like, I think it would be so fun for us to co-host the Cowboy Perspective and have another person sitting in that seat, and bat stuff around. And I got to find a way to bring some reality to this conversation that is more uncomfortable than this. Like, I'm super comfortable talking to you. Yeah. Now, we didn't even talk about God, faith, religion.
Right.
How do you feel about that?
I'm a tremendous believer in faith. I'm pretty against religion.
Yeah. So, see, we got so many things we haven't touched on, but we're an hour and 15 minutes in. Right. You got to get to the airport. So,
well, okay, so remember yesterday when I kind of briefly said that I had done like some motivational pictures and then some storytelling videos.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't get to the part where I'd also done a motivational speech back home. Like a couple years ago, I went back home at my hometown rodeo that Keith Wojo guy was putting on and did this big motivational speech. And after doing it, I was like so excited and I wanted to do more, and it was so like relief off my chest and like on and on and on. This greatest speech, and then like 4 months later I was like embarrassed that I would even say that, and I went and deleted it all. Couldn't believe I'd even talk about that. And like, man, like here I am going on and on about this bareback ride and rodeo career, trying to give people motivation and advice. Meanwhile, I have friends that go to the NFR every year that are probably laughing when they hear me talk about this, and there's probably cowboys that hear it and it's like, oh, he's not even a cowboy yet, and like there's probably so many people against everything I said, and they think I'm just a liar, and I should have never even given this stupid speech, and like, who do I think I even am?
Right.
But then so many people around the world have been like, man, we tried to get back on that speech, and I couldn't find it again. That was the greatest thing I've ever listened to. I listened to it every day for a week on the way to work. You don't know how many holes that speech has dug me out of. I'm like, really? Yeah. Just my life. I just told the story about my life. It was pretty normal. But the only reason I even brought that up, and the only point of all of that rambling, is in that speech I talked about a car accident I was in. Do you know anything about my car accident?
No, I mean, I don't.
Well, I had a lot of injuries, like rodeoing, cowboying, fighting bulls, boxing, whatever. But I like doubled that list of injuries in one wreck.
Yeah.
A passenger in a rollover incident. And the driver ended up okay. I think some glass cut his ear.
But you got all busted up.
Oh, my God.
See, my wife was in a similar wreck. She got, her femur was like crushed. She just had this horrendous amount of injuries from this wreck. And the other person that was with her got thrown out of the vehicle and some scratches. You know, it's like crazy how that.
And I felt like the one who got the brunt of the problem and the lesson, like, knew better before. Yeah. And the other ones didn't even learn anything. And I thought that was so unfair until I realized, like, that's why it hit you so hard. You did know better. You didn't do shit about it. You went against knowing better. That's why it paid you
the way it did. Yeah.
But my injuries were like 6 broke ribs, punctured both my lungs, broke my sternum in 3 spots, 6 vertebrae. I destroyed every bone in this wrist, tore the ligaments in my arm, and broke this elbow. And I had so many injuries going on that they actually missed the fact that my elbow was broke, and I just stretched it, hoping for it to get better for like a year and a half before they found where it was broke. And then it had gone so long that they removed the whole joint, and I just have a titanium elbow now.
Really?
Yeah. But when I got to the hospital, this will get back to your main question. I promise I have a point to all this.
That's
ramble.
all good. Keep listening, y'all.
But when I was in the hospital, and I talk about this in that speech, that's why I was wondering, or brought it up in the first place, is so we wreck or whatever, and I was out. Like, my friends thought I was dead, I think.
Yeah.
And I come to and light a cigarette, and just trying to get my wits, but I can't breathe very good. And I don't really know much, and I'm like going in and out of shock. So
yeah,
Steven, the friend that I got ruffled about my mustache.
Right.
brings me to the hospital. And at that time I could walk, but my palm was just up against my arm like this, and I could not stop looking at my hand. And I knew something was itching too, because I kept trying to take my clothes off and stuff. Well, apparently, unbeknownst to me, like, I'm in total shock at this point.
Yeah.
And I just kind of remember bits and pieces, like flashbacks of this moment. But like, apparently I walked into the lobby of the ER with my hand folded like this, just looking at it, like asking like people waiting in the ER if anyone could fix my arm and give me a ride to the 25, because I have to make it to work in the morning. And I'm like stripping, I guess. Well, it turns out like my clothes were bothering me because I was covered in battery acid.
Oh, man.
So I wake up in ICU the next morning, and this arm is just nothing but a foam block, and I'm just looking at the ceiling, and I got tubes in my back and something shoved down my mouth, and I can't move. I'm just like, what the fuck? This ain't good. And
This ain't good.
no, they life flighted me from Battle Mountain to Salt Lake City. I flatlined on the plane, and when I got to Salt Lake City, and then I come to in ICU the next day, and like the swelling in my shoulders pinched off my spinal cord, so I was paralyzed from the chest down. I can't breathe for shit. I can't move my arm. I can't do anything. I hurt everywhere. And I don't really know, like, for the first few days in ICU are like real spotty memories, kind of.
Yeah.
But I somehow knew that my back was okay. And I cannot tell you how I knew that. Because sometimes I'll be walking around and get a sore back and I don't think my back's okay.
Right.
Like, I think, like, God, one false move and I'm done. And get all scared and limping around like an old man. Like, you ever feel that? Like,
Oh, yeah.
you can tell it's about to go.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, I just knew it was fine, and they kept bringing me into these CAT scan after CAT scan after CAT scan, rolling me in here. And I got this thing that I called it SpongeBob, because they had this like huge foam block just holding my arm together, kind of.
Yeah.
But they would not operate on it because they were so concerned about my back. And I kept telling them adamantly, like, I promise you my back's okay. You've got to worry about my arm. I think my back's going to be fine. And they're like, well, you're paralyzed, so I don't know what you consider fine, but you're not fine. Well, and the third day in ICU, they come in there and they're like, I don't even know how to tell you this. I truly don't know how to tell you this. I don't think you're going to be surprised. But I don't even know how to explain to you how much healing your CAT scan shows from the 11th one to the 12th one.
Yeah.
Like, it looks like you've healed for a year. The swelling's down. Your spinal cord's released. We're going to take the nerve block out of your shoulder. And I think by today you may be able to, like, sit up in your bed and maybe slide off the edge of the bed and stand with a walker.
Yeah.
That afternoon, I walked like 3 laps around ICU.
Yeah.
With a walker. And the nurse helped me and stuff, but I did it.
Yeah.
Well, when I got out of the hospital and started putting all this stuff together, like, it dawns on me, like December is the 12th month, and that was his birthday. There's 33 vertebrae in your spine, and he died at 33 years old.
Yeah.
It was day 3 that he rose. Same with me. And without anyone even knowing that I was in the Salt Lake Hospital ICU yet, I knew I was going to be fine, and only he knew I was there.
Yeah.
So you
Dude,
did not tell me that
testimony.
he's not real, or that I don't believe in God.
Yeah.
I just really think religion and religious people are kind of a slap in the face to what it is. But I am a 1,000,000% believer in faith or God.
Yeah. Oh, I love you, man. It's awesome talking to you. Everybody, you got to come back to our next episode. Hell, we might be co-hosting this thing. Who knows?
I truly hope that you're serious, because you don't know how excited that suggestion made me.
But it would be better.
Pumped.
Like, I mean, the idea. See, I'd love to have Chance Conrado here. Are you familiar with that guy? Mm-hmm. He did the Gauge podcast. It was a big platform. He's kind of a horse trainer. His dad was a really famous barrel horse trainer. He'd be a great guy to sit in on. I mean, we could just talk for days and days. I've tried to get him to do it. I think I don't know. He's hesitant, whatever. It wasn't God's plan.
Yeah.
Maybe this is God's plan. We'll see. Everybody, thanks for listening. I hope if you've listened this far, go check out 6S. High five to Morgan again for the great stuff she is partnering with Kyle on. I wish you guys all the success, whether it be fame, fortune, money, whatever it is. Mostly it's a life, a great life to live and enjoy. Thanks, y'all. We've come to the end of another conversation. Oh, by the way, thanks for listening. If you're hearing this, you spent a lot of time paying attention to me and my guests and being a part of the TCP Nation. If you loved it, tell somebody. If you didn't like it, tell me. We'll catch you next time. Thanks for joining us on this Trot Around the Pasture.